Yeah. Here we go. You're here amongst friends. You are amongst friends with Shawn and John. Just focus on clearing your mind. And awaken, man. And we're here. We're live.
Here we are live, and good evening, Shawn. How are we doing today?
John, I'm excellent. How are you? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. And you and everybody else, welcome to Amongst Friends.
And when you're here, you're with friends.
You're with friends. We're on your corner. We're on your side. We're in your cubby, you know.
Doesn't matter what you believe. Welcome back.
Exactly. Welcome back to an awesome episode this time around. We have one focused on self-esteem today, ladies and gentlemen. Self-esteem.
Yes, this was actually, I think everything that we've touched on, honestly, this is always connected to basically, I think everything you do every day. I mean, especially for me, I ate a bag of Hershey Kisses the other day.
Delicious.
The whole bag. It was candy. It was Christmas candy on sale. So I was like, oh, $1 sold.
Yeah.
And I found myself, getting pleasure out of eating it. And I think I was feeling low that day, but I just kept watching YouTube videos and eating Hershey Kisses. And well, now I don't.
How many did you get down? Seriously, like how
the
many?
Whole bag.
How big was the bag?
I think it's a pound? I don't know. It's a lot of chocolate.
Pound. Yeah, no, that's a good amount. That's like 25 pieces, I think. But
dude,
that's a great example as to like how we are so unconscious or not awake during those times where we make those kind of decisions. We're like on autopilot.
Yep.
To focus on distraction, whether it's through a pleasurable thing like eating chocolate or playing video game or whatever, drinking, you could say even smoking. We tie ourselves into these things very unconsciously, subconsciously.
No, you're 100% right. The unconscious mind, I think it does kind of control us throughout most of our waking life and our sleeping life, of course, too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what self-esteem? What is self-esteem? I mean, it's your personal opinion of yourself, right? Right? I think it goes. Mine has been fluctuating crazy this year and or last year. And this year too, yeah. It's I've had moments. I went into the last year with a high self-esteem, man. I had a great job.
Wow, 2019, money. Hell yeah, dude! I was feeling it, living life on charge, on top, in charge. Oh my god,
I was all of it. Yeah, and having that job, I was in a good place, Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into that actually, how kind of having a job and, your monetary status, how that affects your self-esteem. But do you have a definition of self-esteem? I mean,
I thought I actually kind of knew the general definition of self-esteem, but I don't think that like I'm really getting it to the fullest extent. So like my thing with self-esteem, or my definition of it, just based on my opinion, okay, it is the ability to self-assert yourself in your world. Okay, it's not challenge. Like people may challenge your assertiveness or like your goals, and you have a choice as to whether you want to back down from them or you don't want to, like, or if you want to challenge them. I always equal it to having my own voice. You know,
Yeah.
am I able to say what I want to say rather than just holding things back or pushing things down?
Yeah,
And
I think. I'm sorry.
that's that. And I just looked up the definition of it right off of Google, guys. Confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect.
Yeah,
And
that's perfect. Yeah.
and it's really funny how self-respect is probably one of the bigger portions of what makes up self-esteem, right? Because when you're treating yourself good, when you're going to bed on time and you're eating right, you're exercising, you're keeping your life manageable, you're very centered.
Yes.
You're very grounded in reality.
Yep.
Whereas, if you're getting high every single day and or drinking every night, those are two examples, but we can make them even more mundane. Let's say that you need to make sure that the house is completely spotless before you go to bed. Otherwise, you have an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And some of those things turn into self-respect, and then some of those things actually just turn straight up into ego.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
You know?
we're gonna. Oh, I cannot wait because we're gonna branch right off of
Yeah.
this into ego.
We're gonna branch right into it. I tried to give you little bridges, honestly.
Yeah. I love the foundations, John.
Yeah.
So let's go into for I think a lot of people right now. I think we're a lot of us, especially after this year or 2020, I think a lot of us are suffering with low self-esteem. And I want to talk about a couple signs of low self-esteem. I have 8 signs right here that I've written down off of Psych2Go.
You love Psych2Go.
My favorite YouTube channels,
please give me the Psych2Go stuff again. I
they're
love
like
his stuff.
5 to 10
their
minute
stuff.
videos.
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a team. It's mostly a female narrator, but it's definitely a team of people putting this stuff together.
Well, they're putting out beautiful stuff.
They are, and I will recommend them until they prove me wrong. So let's talk about the 8 signs. And I know, John, looking at these, a lot of them speak to me. I want you to speak up when they speak to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first one they go over is self-doubt.
Oh, all right. Well, let me just put my hand up real fast. I'm just
right.
Listen, self-doubt is one of the hardest challenges that I have currently. So I'm constantly filled with self-doubt. I'm constantly questioning myself and my motives. It goes to the point where when I try to play a silly, like I play Super Smash a lot, and I go online and I'm like terrified to go online because I don't want to make a mistake.
Yes.
And like it goes into like odd things. Here's the part that really troubles me the most with self-doubt is my inability to make a decision. And It doesn't matter what it is. It can go to like simply just making lunch. And I have like such an anxiety attack about picking out what I want to make, like whether it's like I put something into the microwave or I put it into the the conventional oven. It's not fucking hard. But then I choose not to eat.
Yeah.
Yep. And I make the choice to essentially suffer, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why that is.
I think self-doubt comes to 2 things. You skip opportunities, and you don't take chances. For me personally, I won't apply to certain jobs. When I was job searching these past 8 months, a couple jobs came up, like higher paying jobs looking for qualified applicants, and I'm telling myself, nah, I can't work for that company, or I can't do that. And in reality, all they want is an eager person who's willing to learn. But I don't take those work. I don't take those chances, and I self-doubt myself all the time. John, that's why I don't play online games because of that.
You don't?
Dude, I quit World of Warcraft because I was the tank, and you have to lead the raids as a tank. One bad move, and
and everybody wipes.
You got 12 people that hate you.
Talk about an anxiety attack. I remember
Yeah,
playing
dude.
League of Legends. I'm not sure if you ever heard of that game.
I know League of Legends. Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
remember doing jungle for the first time,
Hmm.
and I sucked at it. I was so bad at it that I got like fucking harassed online for it.
Yeah, right.
Just and
Oh,
they were like, never play this game again. I'm like, I fucking won't.
noob. Oh, remember when noob was like a slur? Like,
I loved that. I thought noob was a great term.
dude, some people embraced it as, you know, their handles, and you know what? Good for them.
Good for them.
Um,
But yeah, self-doubt, man, is
yeah, it's a whammy.
it is a whammy. I'm glad it's number one because it is my number
Yes,
one.
it's gonna get better, John. Don't worry.
All right, give it to me.
So number two, and
Mhm.
don't raise your hand too quickly.
Okay.
You're apologetic.
Ooh.
Saying sorry for everything. You know,
Oh
when
man.
people disagree with me, I say sorry for the disagreement. I say sorry for them getting upset. I say sorry to my partner in like every other text almost. It's like I'm sorry for being sorry and I'm sorry for saying that I'm sorry, you know?
You know, you're absolutely right in terms of this apology or apologetic, making sure people are okay. That's my big thing is, are you okay, Shawn? Shawn, are you doing okay,
What are you
pal?
thinking? You're right.
Yeah, give me crazy eyes, Shawn. No, but seriously, I do that. I ask constantly for other people's approval as to how they're feeling. Like I'm
Yes.
there, like I'm in charge of how people feel. You
Right?
know,
And you're seeking that external
and I'm seeking it.
verification.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's like you know, and
Oh,
that's
great point. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Let's jump into number three. You
give me
put the
that.
and we already said this. Yeah, you put the blame elsewhere.
Ooh.
Yeah. I again, I kind of wish my partner was here so she could laugh at me for for how much I blame society. I blame the government. I blame, you know, the radical right, the radical left. I'm constantly blaming everyone else but myself. And, you know, I mean, no, I do blame myself too a lot. But, you know, I think you put the blame elsewhere for when your decisions go haywire, or when something goes wrong, or when your chances kind of slap you in the face, you know? And when that goes unchecked, um, you know, I think it definitely lowers your overall self-image and your own overall self-respect.
I think that blame elsewhere is an interesting point in my book. I think when we go back to like things like when we were talking, oh man, I lost my place completely. How easy it is for us to point the finger at something else.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
We do it
when
all
we do
day.
this,
Yeah.
we eventually ultimately play the victim. So it's like maybe here's a great example of this. Right now, currently, one of my things that I'm going to work on this year is getting in better shape. Right.
Yes. Yes.
And I want to say, like, oh, well, my body constantly hurts. You know, like I have a knee condition. My shoulder is like, oh, it's like falling off. It's being held up by my neck. Like, it's,
Sorry.
it's, I know it's silly, but I actually used that excuse one time. I know, dumb, but true. And if it's just like as simple as like simply going outside, doing some exercises,
15
actually
minutes a
going to
day.
the gym,
15
15 minutes
minutes
a
a
day.
day. It's all you need, man.
I could set up a gym in my hallway right
Yes.
here and just do it.
We
And
all
I
got
don't.
15 minutes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Because you
have I
don't
have
take chances.
reasons.
Self-doubt.
Don't take chances. Self-doubt. Yep.
Mhm.
Going back to right up to self-doubt.
Yeah, dude.
Apologizing about it every single step of the way.
Dude, it's a weird.
I didn't know this was going to turn into a downward spiral.
You knew this was gonna get really introspective. You knew that.
I
Let's
did
go.
know that.
Let's go to number four because
Give me
this
number
this
4.
ties right in, baby.
Number 4.
Bad posture.
Ooh.
How
Oh
you
man.
hold yourself and how you walk around and how you let others see you.
Oh.
I see
Well,
bad posture like the plague. Everyone's kind of slumped and, you know, like, oh, woe is me, you know, and like, you know, again with the victim blaming and not taking care of yourself. Bad posture, your body, your temple. If you have graffiti all over your temple walls, what are the outside people gonna think?
wow.
I mean, bad graffiti, not the cool graffiti. I mean, like cock is here graffiti.
Yeah.
Jesus
Like,
is dead graffiti.
yeah.
That kind of shit.
The bad stuff, guys. You know
Yes,
what's up.
yes, yes.
Nobody wants a dick on your wall, okay?
Exactly. What
Nobody
the
wants
fuck is
that.
with all these dicks on walls?
Yeah.
What
Your
the
body's a temple, guys. Stop putting dicks on
Ugh.
walls.
Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, bad posture.
Bad posture.
The way you're seen.
So here's the thing. In terms of like bad posture, do you mean like
I'm slumping now, by the way.
I'm slumping? Yeah, I'm slumping too, because like now I feel very.
No, I mean when you're walking around,
Yeah.
when you're in conversation with somebody, how you hold yourself. And yeah, high self-esteem. I found especially when I was serving and bartending,
Yeah.
with my ego kind of going unchecked, I was up straight. I was always, and I would always tell other coworkers, stand up straight, stand up straight,
Right.
like my father out of nowhere,
Oh my God. I felt the same way when I was working in a retail store. I was doing sales and we're wearing business casual clothes, have the fancy suit, have the fancy shoes, and I'm selling stuff and you feel hot. You feel the hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's weird how, again, a job can make you feel like that.
Yeah. Oh,
whereas
we're gonna get into
now, things are not as great in terms of things. We all took a hit, and I'm sure everybody has their own example as to what that hit may be. But bad posture, that's an interesting one. I did not expect bad posture to be on this list.
And that goes into number 6, I think, a little bit.
Nope, we're on number 5.
Oh yeah, sorry, number 5. Good for you.
Yep.
Thank you, because they both start with the same word, and my handwriting's horrible.
Mine too, dude. Don't even worry
number 5 is bad habits.
Ooh, I got some bad habits.
Like picking, like scabs or biting
picking
nails,
scabs. Mine is kind of weird. I constantly like adjust myself.
Yeah.
I'm always popping things like elbows, shoulders, jaws.
Yes.
Like I know I'm naming like really weird parts, but these are parts that constantly crack in my body.
I've noticed that from you growing up.
Have you gotten? Go ahead.
I touch my face.
Ooh.
I'm constantly like,
Yeah.
I used to be a joke.
I do that with like my hair too. I'll like pull right here. I don't know why, but like right here there's a calic, and I just like grip it. I'm like, I'm thinking really hard. Grab the calic.
Wiggle the brain.
Wiggle it harder. Bad habits. Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes to like eating habits too.
Yeah, let's talk about like smoking or vaping.
Habits. Yes,
vaping is a big one for me. I actually got told by my therapist the other day as to how often I hit my little nicotine vape. And I was shocked by it. I'm like, why the fuck are you asking that? And he's like, I think it has to do with how you're feeling, and you're using it as a habit, a habitual thing to feel better.
And that's what you said that earlier. So that's subconsciously. That's that's unconsciously you're doing that.
Exactly. And I wish what I say when I tell you this, that I so unconsciously like adjust myself, and I just love the way it feels inside of me.
Yeah.
Oh, and just how it's just you pop and you're just like, oh, now my arm feels like it's like grown 2 inches longer or something like that.
Now what you can do to combat that, which my partner has beaten into my head, and I'm now finally getting stretching, dude.
You think? I don't know, dude.
Stretching.
I want the pops.
I know, but you will grow to love the pull of the muscle. And it makes you more flexible. It makes your blood flow better. It makes your muscles more less tight. And I mean, especially after doing a quick workout or bike riding, I try and bike ride at least once a day, even up here in New York. And
how far do you go on your bike? Out of curiosity,
I probably do like on the smaller side 2 miles on average.
And how long does that take you generally?
Probably like a half hour, a little less.
Half hour.
Yeah, probably a little less actually. Probably like 15, 20 minutes. I try and stay out for at least a half hour, 40 minutes. I have a couple little like I have videos. I have videos on my YouTube about my New York kind of courses that I found. Where I go onto the streets, I find bike paths. I try and like pedal hard uphill and push
that's
myself.
So cool.
And then I find like little breathing spots. I try and make it like, as fun as I can for me. And I try and make it like a little game, like a little like, I time myself. How quickly can I get to the waterfall? How quickly can I get to Genesee Street?
See,
And
I really like that. I think
yeah,
that like we're going to talk about some of the pillars of self-esteem later, but the
yes,
challenge of what you're doing, the challenge that you're giving to yourself is so impressive. I like that it motivates you rather than like scares you, because
yeah.
I feel like it would scare me more than it motivate me more to do so.
But the more you do it, like I definitely agree with you. I think 5 years ago, before I was biking habitually, um, I think that kind of exertion would have scared me. Like,
Right.
like, I can't. That's too much. I was smoking back then, uh, doing other horrible, horrible habits that I mentioned before.
Hmm.
But once you get into riding, and once it becomes more of your norm, your energy levels come right back, and then your what's that word I'm looking for? That you can keep going and going and going and going and going.
Energy?
Yeah,
I don't know.
energy. Yeah, there's a word for it. I know
Oh, oh, oh,
I'm gonna
oh.
hear this for the rest of my life.
Why can't I even think of it?
I know.
Endurance?
Yes, endurance. There we go, John. You said
Yeah,
it. Yes,
got it
my
this time.
endurance levels have gone
Yes.
from when I was a teenager to now. I'm teenager here. Now I'm through the roof.
That's
I can,
awesome.
dude. I was actually planning, and I know we're gonna do some more of this in the future. I was planning on going on bike rides across the country, because
Why you're gonna do like a Forrest Gump kind of thing?
yeah, I know I can ride. I've done it in Florida. I've ridden from West Palm Beach to Vero Beach.
Oh
Now,
my
for
God.
people that don't live down there, that's like going from uh, it's what, 60 miles. It's like an hour in car. It's like an hour and a half in a car, and it took 5 hours on bike. And that's
Wow.
that's me taking my time. I stopped at McDonald's, had a horrible lunch, and yeah, right.
I love how you justify the McDonald's. I'm like, oh, I'm riding my bike to
I
fucking
had to,
Tallahassee.
dude. I had to charge my phone and stuff, and I'm like, there was no Starbucks in town, so I was like, oh, there's
Right.
McDonald's right here.
Might as well plug it into the McDonald's
Yeah.
Wi-Fi for a minute. See how
but
this
uh,
goes.
but yeah, I left at 5 a.m. and I got back around. I met with somebody up there. I was able to hang out for a minute, and I got back before nightfall around 5:30 ish p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was like the test to see if I can ride all day. And I wanna in the future, I wanna be able to like just start here in New York and go to, you know, Philadelphia, or go to somewhere in New Jersey, maybe Burlington County or Medford, because I
Wow.
know I can. I know once I start going, I already have all the camping gear. I know if you go to my SoundCloud page, you can see my bike setup. I have my tent and all my other stuff that I would need, and yeah, bike packing or whatever they call it.
I have so many questions in regards to this. Like, seriously, if you just biked to, let's say, Philadelphia, where I am,
Yes,
and how much would it cost, I guess, per day to get you there? And then how many days would it take for you to get here?
it depends on how much I would spend on food, because I
Okay.
I stealth camp. I do this in the summertime, not in the wintertime. So
Yeah, you can't do this in the wintertime, I
you
assume.
can. People do. I
Oh my
won't.
God. You animals. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
dude. People have biked from Alaska down to Mexico, and then
Wow.
from like past the Darien Gap, whatever countries right there. I'm sorry, South America, but south to the top of South America down to Chile. People have done the entire. People have biked everywhere, um,
That's so
and
cool. I had
I
no idea.
I think it could take me under 3 days to get to Philly, and that's me
That's
taking
pretty
my time.
impressive.
If I
Really? That's
rode,
you taking your time?
That's me taking my time. I can probably get there, and if I was biking my ass off, 2 days. But
Hmm.
there's mountains
Oh
that
my
would be
gosh,
my
yeah.
be my roadblock. I've been training here in Auburn. I've been training with the small mountains. Sorry, I've been getting better, but I'm not quite to that level yet where I can comfortably say, "Hey, John, I'll see you in a couple days." But that's my goal for the end of the summer. By the way, I wanna make it to you, or to make it to New Jersey. Uh, uh,
Via bike?
yeah, via
Wow.
bike. And I think it would cost me, to answer your question, other than the gear that I already have, it would probably just cost me food. Um, and that it'd be like $40, I think, in total.
Wow.
But I already have my tent, I already have my sleeping bags, I already have my spare parts in case anything breaks. You only pack 2 pairs of clothes, your dirty clothes that you're gonna ride in, and then your clean clothes that you go into society in.
Right.
And you don't need to pack 5 pairs of anything. It's too much weight and there's not enough room.
And then would you bike back?
Yeah, like
Holy
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would stay for a couple days and bike back. Yeah.
That's impressive. And see that's going and now going back to our topic, which was again self-esteem. I know we got a little off topic in terms of that, but like, how did that make? How do you think that's going to make you feel?
I mean, I know personally biking has changed my life.
Really?
Because it was a means of getting from point A to point B originally, and now it's turned into a hobby. And this winter, John, has been hard on me because this is my first winter, and I'm not used to it being this kind of rainy and cold and
Right.
snowy. So I
You're
haven't,
used to sunshine state of
yeah,
Florida
I
and
haven't been
some
able.
orange groves. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, South Florida. It's swimming pools and highways.
Oh.
Yeah, hot.
At least there's palm trees, right? Are there palm
Yes.
trees?
Oh, yeah. It looks.
Oh.
Hey,
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
a palm
Hey, there
tree.
you go. More than I could say.
Florida. No, but yeah. So I mean, so me not being able to bike as much has had its negative effects on my self-esteem.
I would assume it totally
Yeah.
would.
And it's led to kind of badder eating habits because when you bike that much, you have to eat high carbs, a lot of protein. You want to give yourself a lot of energy, and like
Right.
pasta is how I get my energy. I would eat pasta like twice, 3 times a week.
Oh man.
And yeah, and like
I do love a good pasta.
yeah, and like I'd never put on weight. The most weight I put on was when I was taking a protein drink, and it was the protein in it. It was like and it ended up like going to like negative spots. The weight, it wasn't going to muscles. It was going to like my love handles and like my belly. So I wasn't working the full amount that I needed to be to burn off that fat and make it into muscle. So I stopped doing that. But I've been eating like shit now. And I feel like I've been feeling like shit recently. But I've been
biscuits for breakfast, and that was it.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
biscuits.
I don't even eat breakfast half the time, John.
I don't either.
I have a bagel, maybe.
Yeah.
Tangerine. And it's got to be slathered in cream cheese.
Oh yeah, it does.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I've been using my partner's bike. She has a gravel bike, so the tires handle wet surfaces better and snowy surfaces, and I can jump off sidewalks and shit. There's no bike lanes up here. There's no biking. Auburn doesn't have a biking community, so it's a lot of sidewalk riding, and it's a lot of potholes, and it's a lot of So I've been able to use her bike, and it's been able to get me back outside. So that's why I've been feeling. We talked earlier why I've been feeling better. I've been doing more exercise.
Wow.
So. Boo, baby. Number 5, bad habits.
Bad habits. We got that was a good
No, we're here for tangents. We're here for
Thank
rants.
you. That was the word I was looking for. Tangents.
Let's go to number 6.
Number 6.
Downplay achievements.
Downplay achievements.
And this one, again, I am so guilty of. I have accomplished, John, 2 DUIs, and I've gotten my license back.
Wow. That is a huge accomplishment.
That is not only a financial commitment, that is I have to show up for classes. I have to, go through all the hoops that they put in front of you. Because, it's not about protecting you. It's about demoralizing you and then getting your money. But I did everything they wanted me to, and I showed up every time. I gave them all the money they wanted, and I got my license back, John. Like that. That is a huge achievement,
accomplishment. That really is. I mean, in terms of this, losing your license twice is a story onto itself. But the ability to even get it back and have that responsibility and making that change to your life, I'm sure it was not an easy task. As you said, both terms of financially and moral
Yeah, spiritually, yeah.
obligation. You know, it really turns into that with those classes sometimes.
Dude, those classes were a shit show. It was like a high school
Sure.
lunch, dude. People, everyone, in all walks of life, all age groups, all
Hmm.
ethnicities, and they're sitting there. They're like they're talking over each other. No one's listening. They're all trying to like flex how cool they are, and it's like I feel like the intelligence was kind of getting sucked out of the room
Oh yeah.
because it's like, what are you guys doing? You know, our bad decisions is what got us here, and we're playing like this is the state's fault. You know, we're playing like this is the cops' fault for pulling me over. You know, it's like, nah, dude, I made the stupid decision. No one should drink and drive. I don't condone it. You know, it doesn't matter how I got caught. You know, I have to live through the consequences of the decisions and choices I made. And I've since then come to terms with a lot of them. And dude, that class, it was like nobody was taking it seriously. I felt so bad for the teacher. And we're all paying to be there. That's the fucking kicker. We're all paying like $68 a visit to sit there.
How many
Oh,
classes did you have to do?
I had to do 28.
You had
Some
to
of
do
them,
28 classes.
some of them,
Let me
if
pull out this calculator. Hold on one sec.
yeah, it's it's
Because
it's it's a lot of money. And
wow, I can't believe that.
that's not to mention the fines that you have to pay. And when
Wow.
you complete the class, you have to pay for your certificate. So they make you pay for everything. Um,
Wow. I can't believe that.
yeah, yeah, it's
That's
about money, dude.
that's
It's a way of
and
profit.
how long did you not have your license for in that regard?
I didn't have my license for 5 years. They took it away for 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But again, it was my choice not to have a license for the past 2 years. I mean, for the 2 extra years, it was my choice. I was living in Florida. I could bike everywhere. I didn't have the financial means to get a car. But when I got the better job, I was able to start paying for the classes to get my license restored. And John, I still don't have a fucking car. But I was able to at least start the steps. And that's my story of inspiration tonight. You can do it too.
You can do it as well. And downplaying achievements, I think, can be taken in a lot of different ways. And one
Yes.
of the ways that I think that we do that is like when somebody says you did a good job at something, and how you often just like blow it off. It
Yeah.
doesn't even matter. Like
Yeah.
you could do like a really kind thing, like pay for somebody's Starbucks drink or something like that. And somebody just says, "Man, that was a really cool thing." And you're like, nah,
Nah,
it's
please.
nothing really.
Anyone would
It
do it.
was only
Anyone would
five.
do it.
It was anybody would do it. You know how often I hear that too. It's really true.
Dude.
Um,
Yeah.
we just don't want to give ourselves the credit sometimes.
We don't. And again, it's
Why do you think that is in that sense? Why do you think
I
that we
really
just
wish I
downplay our
had like
achievements?
I think for me personally,
Yeah,
it's
seriously.
like I don't think I'm worthy of it. It's
Mm.
like I think of all
That
my
is the
fuck ups.
exact. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It is the exact mentality that I have as well. I'm not worthy of it.
That's as simple as it is. It happened to me just the other week at my new job. Somebody came up to me and said, like, you have already that manager kind of persona and material. And I was like, no, I don't say that, thinking that was a bad thing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's a good goal to set for yourself. That's an obtainable goal for a lot of people, and I especially for the company I'm working for. And I should have taken the compliment, but no, instead I resisted it so much. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
just,
why we resist praise like that
you know,
as hard. Me personally, being
you know why?
praised is very uncomfortable.
Do you know why? It goes into number 8 or number 7 on this list,
Give me
John.
number 7, please.
Negative self-image.
Oh, that's why.
You think that goes without saying, right? But I do think it has to be said, um, because and John, you've got my random texts throughout the day. Some
Oh
days
yeah.
I really am in a low spot, and I beat myself up so much. And and we're going to get into the reasons why right after this list, and I think we're going to have some really great talking off points. But I constantly, and if it's by downplaying achievements, not accepting, not accepting when people thank you or give you a compliment, by having self-doubt, all of these tie in together to your negative self-image. Sorry, to your negative self-image.
I feel that as well. I feel that my native self-image is constantly flexing and waning. There are a lot of times where I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
I'll have a successful day. I'll have a productive day. I'll take care of myself. I'll drink some damn water, and I don't feel like I'm so bad. But there are times where it just like it impacts itself so much, and it's coming from different angles, where it just turns into this knot of like negativity, and at the core of that is just how I view myself.
And that turns into our first episode, actually, self-isolation.
Ooh.
I push people away. I push myself away. I keep myself away. I don't, I do push, but I keep myself away. And it's because of how I view myself at that particular time. And it becomes more and more apparent and repetitive the more you do it. It's like working out. The more you work out that negative self-image, the more strength it has in your head, and the harder it is to kind of put it away.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel really tied down by that too. That's these were really good, honestly.
But that's why
Shawn.
we're here, man. We're here so we can hear this from each other, and so we can give the needed compliments to each other, because that's why you're with a friend. That's why you're talking to a friend.
Yeah, that's why we're amongst friends right now.
That's the benefit of having a friend, and I recommend everyone, finding someone to just compliment randomly, and or pick up your phone and easily text a compliment to someone you saw today or yesterday, or randomly. I randomly text my partner a compliment once a day.
That's really nice.
And again, it's not, it feels good, and they appreciate it almost all the time, except when they're in that one mood that is hard to break from, and I get that silence, but we'll talk about that later. So number 8 on our list of the 8 signs of low self-esteem we've got here, everyone.
8. Is this our last one?
This is it, man.
This is it.
You strive for perfection.
Ooh.
And what that does to me is that makes me give up early. Because I think I'm not doing good enough, and I'm like, I'm not going to get a good grade in this class or this online course. And I'm trying to get the perfect mark. I do it in video games all the time. I'm trying to complete the entire game. I'm trying to get every item. I'm trying to get every question right. And I start to not get questions right. I start to give myself more doubt and negative self-thoughts, and then I give up. Me trying to perfect everything makes me give up.
I feel like I don't even get started when it comes to those kind of things. Like striving for perfection would be the ideal goal for me, for at least be able to participate. I can even get stuck before that part. Like I'm stuck at the part of even starting.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah, because
I want to be perfect. I want it to be the right way the first time. And I'm not really, and it goes into that instant gratification process.
Yep.
I hate to tell you this, guys, but when you start a new thing, you're going to be bad at it at first.
Yeah.
You're not going to be perfect. You're going to be what we call a beginner. And where do you learn the most in terms of these things?
Through your
mistakes.
That
process.
Yeah.
Through the basics. And trying to keep that mind of the beginner, the student, rather than the teacher, is such an imperative focus for us, because it keeps us in the process of present.
Yes, the present, the now. The now,
and
the power of now.
When I hear the power of now, and you were saying that book, and I got a couple books myself in terms of that, but striving for perfection really means for me, striving to be in practice, and I'm trying to translate that into what I see, because striving for perfection really is not realistic.
Nothing's perfect. No,
Nothing's perfect.
no.
If we were perfect, we would be
Gods.
God.
Yeah.
I wish I was God's. I wish, that'd be fucking
I wish it
swell.
was that easy. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not, guys. Being human, being mortal, being
Being flawed.
just yourself is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And looking at these lists of self-doubt, being apologetic all the time, blaming elsewhere, bad postures, bad habits, downplaying achievements. I mean, I'm like 8 for 8 on this list,
Dude,
Shawn.
so you want to go one step further,
Give
my
me one
friend?
step. Give
No,
me
no,
the next
no,
step.
no. We're off the list. We're going into why. Why do you think you would have self-esteem issues, or where does it come from?
Oh man,
I watched an awesome video, and I'm sorry, I am a millennial. I live on YouTube. Um, this video is from School of Thought. They're also like Psyched to Go. They have these cool little animated videos, usually 5-6 minutes. We all have that much time. I have like 20s of those times. They have an awesome video on self-esteem, and I say they have 3 points, but I say let's just talk about them.
Yeah, let's get. I'm curious to know where these things kind of start from.
Everything starts. The beginning.
Yeah.
Is when you're a child.
Ooh.
It comes from for me, and I think what the video says is comes from a parent of the same sex. So if you're female or identify as female, mother, male, father, and so for me, I'll give you a personal example. My father, in my eyes, has a very successful business, and he's made a good living from it. He's been able to take care of. I have 3 brothers. That's 4 boys. We lived John. We lived in a well-to-do town, and I would consider that from an outside perspective kind of successful. He always got what he wanted. He always kind of was able to buy everything for all of us. I had a Sega back in '94, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe 93.
You were living large, yeah.
I do. I had Jurassic Park, the video game, when it came out, dude.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't want to humble brag there. Sorry.
Yeah, a little humble brag for you guys.
Sorry, but
what an achievement.
No, but let's talk about my self-esteem for a second. So, he still has his own business, and it's in a town with stiff competition, and for me personally, I haven't been able to match his success, or from what I view as his success, financially and with a family and blah, blah, blah. I feel like, I make this past year, I made under $20,000. I'm in the poverty range, and that has had a huge effect on my self-esteem, because I feel like in his eyes, I'm kind of a disgrace. I'm kind of, I'm less than, and it's, and I know it's not true. And I know it's just me kind of telling myself this, but I do agree with the point that they made at School of Thought, that it comes from a parent. And, yeah, I as soon as they said it, it clicked. Like, I do that. And me being able to say it out loud to other people, to you, I think is really beneficial for me personally, because I can kind of now let go of it. We talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Yep, forgiveness, I think.
I'm going to be able to let go and realize that what success means to me. I actually live very well on the poverty line. I don't have any kids. I don't have, I don't have a house to raise. I have just me to worry about. And as selfish as that sounds, my success bar is now lower than someone else. And being okay with myself will now be able to help my self-esteem go up. And
I think it's important to recognize what you just said a little bit. And it's comparing yourself to like others. Whereas Yeah, it's kind of like almost like track in that sense. You're not racing against other people in track.
You're
You're
racing against
racing
time.
against yourself and
Yeah.
time. And I
Yeah.
think that's a lot. I think that we should really kind of see
Well,
self-esteem
yeah,
in that kind of concept.
no, you, John, see, you already figured this out. That's the next point that they talk about. You get self-esteem from your peer group,
Ooh,
people the same age as you that live in the same area as you. For example, if we had high school friends that got really
yeah.
successful in life, they opened their own businesses, made a lot of money, what have you. We compare and contrast our lives, and their success makes us feel less than. I can tell you, I'm not going to give anyone's name out here, but there's like 4 or 5 people that come off the tip of my tongue right away that their success really beat me down because they got successful at a young age.
Mhm.
And I mean, good for them. I
Yeah,
honestly,
good for them.
I am proud of them. But for me personally, it was a slap in the face. Like, I can do those things. I can do this. Why can't I be successful at this? And uh, yeah, I'm slowly kind of like, it's taken me 30 years to get out of that mindset and to be able to just not compare myself with anyone my age, because we all have different stories. We all have different lives that have
And we
different
all,
radical paths.
yeah, and different levels of success too.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
might add.
It's how we, it's John, it's how we're going to define success to ourselves, you know?
So
Like,
it seems to me that like the message that I keep hearing in this sense is that you're not good enough is the thing that stays with you the most.
yeah, I feel like it's stated because it's from childhood. And this goes into the next point they make actually on the video is what kind of love you received as a kid. Now
Ooh,
they say there's 2 kinds of love that you can get. There's
okay.
conditional love and there's unconditional love. Unconditional love is what you give to your puppy, John. It doesn't matter what
Uh,
it doesn't matter what the
oh my
puppy
God,
does.
unconditional.
It doesn't
Yep.
matter. It poops
She
on
can
your
pee
bed.
on, yeah,
Yes.
she's peed on my bed twice and I still love her.
Yeah, it's like it's because the puppy doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
You love and nothing
Yeah.
but pure love.
Unconditional. Yeah.
Now, what conditional love is, and I have gotten this plenty of
I
times,
I feel like I understand conditional, but
is
go ahead.
is through achievements that you've made. For example, as a kid, getting good grades,
Mhm.
or doing good in sports, or hobbies, extracurricular activities. I was a bad student.
I was a terrible student.
And
Yeah.
I don't think it's our fault. I think our teaching system was just antiquated and not.
Although to be fair, here I do have an example of that. I did get most improved student in eighth
Hey,
grade.
see, and
Yeah.
boom, that
Yeah.
probably boosts your self-esteem, man.
I mean, it honestly, I feel like it didn't because I literally didn't try for like the third and fourth marking period of that year.
Marking
And
periods.
I think it was like remember marking periods? First and
Oh,
second marking periods, I was like, I don't give a
always the
fuck.
best. No, I was always
Yeah.
the best in the beginning of the year. And
Oh,
then you
yeah, me
saw
too.
me not give a fuck. I'm like,
I
summer's
uh
coming up.
I struggled. I struggled with the second into third marking period, really, and that's why I got the most improved student. I didn't turn in like any assignments, and I missed a huge exam, and I was like, I'm
Yes,
not doing this.
dude. And like, yeah, in high school, I was really bad. In elementary school, I got letters sent home, Shawn's
Hmm.
doing well. However, he needs
Yeah.
improvement in these areas. And then I got, the conditional love, and parents, I'm not saying that, you can be a little hard on your kids and push them to succeed,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I felt like a failure in school, and then I came home and felt like a failure as a kid. And that kind of, and it wasn't in every, because it wasn't in every category. And of course, I got unconditional love as I got older. My parents have a great support for me, as as much as they can in their terms in their world. But they've had my back through getting my license back and my life back
Hmm.
on track. And I do love them. I love them for that. And but there was definitely times where my report card was like my worst fear, because you're going to have a couple letters that determine my personality, that a couple letters that tell the parent how they're smart their kid is. It's just like, it's an antiquated system. I
I
really disagree with it.
I don't really. I've heard my brother did something different in his high school. I don't think they did like A through F. They did like grade numbers, like 100 to like 50, and obviously it's like the same thing in that sense.
Yeah.
You know that an A plus is between
It gives you more
95 to
options,
9 to
basically. Yeah.
100%. You know, but I think more of the things that got to me in high school was the level 1 classes or level 2 classes or level
Yeah.
3 classes.
Yeah. I was in level
And
3
I
classes.
was in level 3 classes for math. I was in level 3 classes for like sciences and things like that. Those
Yeah.
were not my strongest suits. And I always felt less than the guys
Yeah.
that were in like level
Yeah.
1 chemistry class.
Again, your
You
peer
know,
group, your peer group looked
your peer
down,
group looked,
looked down at you.
but it wasn't so much the peer group that installed it, it was the school itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then your
So
parents heard that you were in that, and yeah, I can say I've gotten unconditional love in some aspects, and I've gotten conditional love in other aspects. And school, I got unconditional love, um,
conditional love,
conditional love
kind
all
of
the
grew
time.
up on conditional love. That's
Yeah.
how I was kind of raised.
Yeah.
A lot of ways with my family. I lived with my mom for a while, and she had some issues with substance abuse, and conditional love was the only kind of love that was available. Otherwise, it was kind of neglect.
Mm.
And whereas, like, I think that kind of goes back to like the parts where I was saying about "Are you okay?" or checking in with that, because that was like the only kind of response that I would get from being raised. And it's interesting that that kind of circles back like that. It really is.
No, no, it's and yeah, I love how this is all connected,
Hmm.
with attitude, and then how you react with attitudes, and how you pick and choose friends. I honestly think this is because, because we surround ourselves with people that think like us, so we can communicate and connect on that level. This is it's when we first started this, John, I thought we were picking topics of unrelated things,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's amazing
And it's
how
amazing how it just kind
it's
of
like
all comes
yeah,
together.
it's a web. It's a web of actions and consequences, cause and effect, and you
And
know,
we were talking about the multiverse theory, and I liked what you brought up in
yeah,
regards to that,
yeah,
about
you
how
know,
things could be potentially happening in different aspects of the multiverse, and
every
what that
action plays
has an
out.
equal, but what is it? Yeah, every action has an equal but
Well, it's a
opposite
law. Yeah,
reaction.
that's like a law of
Law of physics, right?
physics or whatever. Yeah, Newton or Murphy or Murphy's law. Yeah,
No,
every
that's not
action
Murphy's
is an
law.
equal and opposite reaction.
I don't
Isn't
know.
that what it
Well,
is?
if somebody finds out what it is, just give us some knowledge. We're
Don't
beginners.
shame us.
We just want you to know that we're sticking with the topic as
Yeah.
beginners.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the laws of the universe, whatever.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah,
But object in motion stays in motion.
yeah,
No, anyway,
yeah.
but no, it's amazing. And I'm surprised it took us this long actually to talk about self-esteem. I
I
don't know
think so
why that wasn't
too.
our first video.
Well, I think that self-esteem is literally the last thing that I think about. Do you
Yeah.
know? Like, it's interesting
At
that
the end
it's
of the day.
not. At the end of the day, it's not. It's the hardest thing for me to talk about. First of all, self-esteem is really hard for me to kind of get my hands around. Not so much that I don't like. I feel like I have low self-esteem. I do, but it's such an unfamiliar topic in general for me.
Yeah.
Um, to discuss, to bring up, to show in terms of um, fragileness. It really is inside of
Vulnerability.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, vulnerabilities. Thank you. Um, but it's so, as you said before, it's kind of just like a muscle in that sense. The more you build it up, the stronger that it will be.
Yeah.
And when we talk about building things up, we have so many options in terms of doing that. I just found something quickly on YouTube that really goes into this. And then
Give it to me.
What I really like about this is that it really feels like an exercise, because this is all practice.
Yes.
Okay. Practice in terms of building up not just your self-image, your self-esteem, but how you see things and perceive the world. A lot of those things you can change, but it does take practice. And the
Of
first thing that
course.
we're going to talk about is the practice of living consciously. Now, again, we're going to circle back a little bit again in terms of this practice of self-living consciously. Really kind of represents your attitudes as to what you want to do. So, what I mean by that is when I come home from work, the first thing that I really want to do is nothing. I don't want to do a single fucking thing. I want to eat I want to eat a bag of potato chips and sit in front of the TV and isolate. I want to watch my YouTube channels and my dog videos. But there's an alternative to that. And it's weird how subconsciously I go to that first, you know? There's a lot of things that I could do to improve upon that too. Like instead of coming home and being like really turned off emotionally, I can rewarm myself. I can bring myself back into the present moment, as you said before, by simply just giving somebody a compliment, making sure that I'm fully present in the moment, is going to really change my outlook and attitude
Yeah.
towards my day.
Yeah. You're talking about distracting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the present is the perfect way to say that. I distract myself from the moment I wake up. Sometimes I'm working on getting a new morning habit, because I'll wake up and what do 80% of us do, or 90%, we check our phones.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we go right into the dopamine receptors. We're looking. You know, I got off personal social medias to stop that habit, but I still wake up and watch YouTube, man.
Oh
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so I
It's either
want to,
that or I'm checking Reddit or
yeah,
I'm looking through
exactly.
Twitter. I'm doing all these things that are just like constantly feeling the dopamine pleasure receptors.
Exactly. So I'm going to start doing is wake up with a morning yoga, a
Ooh.
real quick, easy yoga to kind of check in with myself, wake up and check in with myself right away. And John, you saying after work, I was hardwired to having a beer. I was hardwired to getting home, cracking
And
open that
just cracking
ice
open up
cold
that little,
IPA.
oh, I can hear it right
Oh,
now.
the citrus notes are
Oh,
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 the local
the weedy,
brewery.
the
Oh,
localness. I'm so trendy.
oh, seriously. Oh, I make mine with mushroom essence.
Oh,
Seriously.
wait, do they do that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, they do it in Texas. I'm coming to see you, Texas. I'm coming to
oh,
see you.
Tejas. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Tejas. I have so many questions.
No,
Um,
that's great. What else you got? Come on, give me
I got a
what
couple
else?
more. I got a couple more.
I'm writing these down, dude.
Again, this is just practice, and as Shawn gave you a great example as to how he's going to practice self-living consciously, I also want to try to give you an example as to what I'm going to do to live consciously. And that's going to start by eating a breakfast. I'm going to eat breakfast starting now. Never eat breakfast. I never take care of myself. I never drink enough water, all those things. I'm going to start by having a wake up time of 9 o'clock, make some breakfast. That's it. And it doesn't have to be a huge challenge at first. You don't have to like go after the final boss right away when you're starting your list, guys.
Yeah,
You know,
you
allow
train.
your challenges to be achievable. All right.
Yeah,
And that's the practice of it.
and
And you start building on that.
let me throw in 1 cent. Make it a healthy breakfast. Have
Make it,
fruits.
you know, what a
Seriously.
challenge.
Colin,
I'm
I
gonna have to
don't.
make some.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make some eggs. I think I was gonna start doing the egg diet.
yeah.
Well, or egg
Don't
breakfast.
dress it in cheese. I'm gonna say that
Oh,
right now.
come on, Shawn. I need
I
that cheese,
know,
man.
but you're gonna
I need
put
that
yourself.
mozzarella.
You're gonna put yourself back in a calorie coma as soon as you
Okay.
wake up.
All right. All right. All right. You know what? I'm gonna try. I
Keep it
will try
lean.
not to make it
Don't
with.
use so much butter. I know,
That's
dude.
how I cook things, Shawn, with
Dude,
butter.
come on.
Oh.
You're talking to someone who eats sticks of butter. But this is gonna make us feel better.
You're right. You're
But you're
right.
right.
All right.
Waking up with
I
a morning
accept that.
routine, making up with a
Hmm.
morning routine, and giving yourself something, especially if you haven't eaten since say 9 since
Ooh.
9 at night,
But
you're
see, that's a
basically
challenge. Like I
you're
don't
basically
eat in the
fasting
morning.
for 12 hours.
I know.
Um,
I feel like here's the sick part about it is like I thought not eating would be a healthier option than eating something that was bad.
well, I guarantee you have a big lunch then, right?
I do, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I try to eat a
So
big
if you
lunch.
have a small breakfast, you'll have a
Uh-huh.
smaller lunch, and then have a decent sized late night supper, or break down into smaller meals throughout the day. I kind of have adopted intermittent fasting, where on my good days I don't eat from basically 7 to about 10 in the morning.
Okay.
So I give myself all that time to kind of let my body reset, and I try and have small meals throughout the day. Um, I've been on my bad days I have big meals, a lot of cheese, a lot of butter, and
Mm.
I go into food comas right away.
Oh
But
man,
I definitely like your idea of waking up.
you're explaining my Tuesday
Yes,
usual.
John, I recommend you waking up and you having a fucking some no, seriously, some fruits,
Okay.
maybe like an almond milk, or
Ooh.
you
I don't
know,
generally drink milk very often,
yeah,
to be
no,
honest
dude,
with
pick
you.
up oat milk. I'm telling you, oat milk, you will be so surprised with how it tastes, and the vitamins that they pump into it are actually pretty good for you. And
Okay.
it's
All right,
sustainable.
word up.
Oat milk is
Ooh.
sustainably sourced.
I heard
Like
that it's
almond,
better for that in terms of that. You were gonna say almond milk, right?
yeah, almond milk is not
It's
really
not really
sustainable.
sustainable. Yeah, because it
Um,
takes like 3.5 gallons to like
yeah, of
actually meet
water
a
to make
water.
the milk.
Yeah.
It's like cows. Cows are not sustainable to live off of yet. Here we are. Um, but yeah, John, I love that idea. I love
Yeah.
I love
I'm
you
gonna
having a time to wake up.
I'm gonna give it a shot, you know, and this is again going into the practice of things and moving on to the second part of this, the practice of self-acceptance.
Yes.
Now, self-acceptance to you, let me ask you this, Shawn. What does self-acceptance mean to you?
Being okay with where I'm at with my job. I mean, we've hinted at this a couple times. Um, I fell into a depression after I lost my job because the money started going away and my bank account.
Oh,
I worked so
oh,
hard to
totally.
build up, and I was upset with myself that I gave money that much power in my life.
It's true though. Power,
You know,
the concept of money has such a great effect on my
it's
self-esteem.
yeah, we worship it in this country. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't,
When I have it, I feel like I am on top of the world. When my bank account feels big, I
dude.
feel big.
Remember when we saw each other back in the I think in the midway through the pandemic?
Yeah, you
We
came
met up.
over to
Yeah. And
yeah.
dude, we both had fat bank accounts then.
Oh,
We
fat
were
bag.
both
Yeah,
like, yeah, what's up? Oh, bro,
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
good.
bro, I'm just
I'm
chilling, bro. Like
good.
I'm doing
Yeah,
great.
right. I'm living my dream right now. Dude, I
Mhm.
was so full of myself and high on everything. And dude, it took it quick 4 to 6 months for all that positive energy to dwindle away because simply my bank account reflected a smaller number.
Yeah,
I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed that I don't need to live off $500 a week. So I don't need to reflect that on my bank account. And I don't need to reflect that to treat my partner nicely. Maybe we can't go out and do expensive activities, but guess what? There's a lot of free activities that we can do.
yeah. And
Um,
it doesn't take very much to even like go to a simple animal shelter and
exactly.
I mean,
A
even if you're
state
keeping
park.
a budget of like $10, you'll get into a state park for $10 for sure.
Exactly.
I
So
think most state parks you park into are pretty much free.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it depends on the season and what state.
Hmm.
Honestly, I know there's a whole bunch of websites you can go to find out. I highly recommend checking out state parks.
Oh yeah.
But I also recommend not going to the tourist trap state parks. Uh,
So, oh, go
we're
ahead.
destroying the environment. Stop talking people going to the Grand Canyon, the Horseshoe Bend, man. We're killing that place. But no, what you said about self acceptance is being just accepting where I'm at in my career, I guess, in my
Hmm.
financial plan, and allowing myself to be okay with not having a bunch, not seeing money and then seeing success. Those two things.
Right.
So
I
that's
I
what it
think
means.
that's a great concept. You know, we hit money pretty hard, but other things can be applied into that as far as like self-acceptance. You know, we when we break down the actual definition of it is the awareness of one's strengths and weaknesses, the realistic yet subjective appraisal of one's talents, capabilities, general worth, and feelings of satisfaction with one's self despite deficiencies and regardless of past behaviors and choices. Now that was a long one, but
No, that's
it
perfect.
but it really pulls out like the ability of understanding what your strengths and what your weaknesses are and being aware of them.
Yeah. Like
You know,
I,
if we're gonna dissect this a little bit, you know, understanding what you can improve on and what you can't improve on, and trying to focus on what you can't improve on literally gets you nowhere.
yeah.
It does. Like you cannot change the outcomes of like, say, for instance, like the rolling of a craps table. You know, if you land on snake eyes, guess what? That's not changing. You
No,
know.
no, I suck at skateboarding. I know I could probably practice to get there, but I'd rather accept that it's not my strength and stop attempting and stop hurting my knees.
Oh man. Well, your knees are gonna thank you. I used to try to skimboard. I thought I was the coolest kid in the world trying to skimboard on the part. Oh, at the beach, it was my favorite thing. And
Yep.
I remember, Shawn, I tried to hit like a wave and I completely missed the board and I just landed my face
Face
full of
first.
sand. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I think I accept that I'm
You
not
probably
very good
deserve
at
that.
this.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's perfect, man. That's perfect.
But it's always, you know, there's a second part of the self-acceptance part, and that's going into self-improvement. And
Yes.
we really want to reach that point, but we need to have the ability to be accepting of ourself before we can go into things of self-improvement.
Yeah, because I think you'd be faking it basically.
Yeah, well, I agree. You know, you can't really walk the walk and then try not to talk the talk either.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
So that's a great point. And yeah, I think it's without the acceptance and you try and do the improvements again, like what you just said, is you give up on it. You give up on the improvements later
Hmm.
on because you don't have that commitment to yourself yet. So why would you
Oh,
give it to an
and
external source?
that's another excellent point that you just made. That's such a challenging thing for me is to feel motivated to improve upon myself. And frankly, and if you're listening to this, you're worth it. You
Yeah,
know, I'm worth
yeah,
it.
you
And
are.
the vocabulary that I need to change in
I mean, I
myself.
wish I mean, I don't want to be afraid of death. I don't. But I do know there's a couple deaths that are avoidable that our lifestyle choices are going to lead us down statistically. I'm talking
Hmm.
heart disease is the number one killer in America,
Cancer.
and cancer is number two. And these cancer sometimes can be not up to you. Some
Not up to you,
cancers, yeah, some
but like, you know,
cancers,
if you're smoking, I think
yes,
that was the point that I was
yes,
making. You
yes,
know.
or stomach cancer, or intestinal cancer can come from foods you eat.
Hmm.
Um, Uh, but heart disease, I'm talking about heart attacks, strokes, anything. Heart disease is an umbrella term of
Right.
a million deaths that can kill you. And dude, I honestly like 80% of them are avoidable based on how you exercise and how you eat and how you feel about yourself. Because social health, it's the stress and this low self-esteem beats up your heart and beats up your immune system more than we're aware of it because it happens so gradually over time.
It's crazy how something so mental can turn into something
Yeah,
extremely physical.
stress kills
Yeah.
people, man.
Stress kills people.
I've seen people die right after their partners have died. They were
Hmm.
together for like 50, 60 years. One's gone, the other one's gone the next week. The will to live literally stops. And
Absolutely. I've seen that too.
yeah, and I wish for me that the fear of a heart attack was, not a risk, but a more abundantly clear. I don't want to have to suffer a heart attack for it to smack me in the face like, hey, asshole, stop eating cheese. quit, get off the couch a little bit more,
Oh, but I love cheese and
I
couch. Couch and
know.
cheese together. That's
Oh,
like a peanut
if I
butter
could
and
have,
jelly.
if I could have a cheese couch,
What kind of
uh,
cheese? I would have a Swiss cheese couch.
Swiss cheese, I would
Yeah.
probably honestly have a Velveeta cheese couch.
it's so
Not even
it's
real
so
cheese.
gooey. It is liquid gold. It is liquid gold. I do know that.
Oh, we are not sponsored by Velveeta. Thank you.
No, thank you, Velveeta, for sponsoring us eventually. All right. Anyway,
Oh.
going on to our number 3. We're halfway done this part. The practice of self-responsibility.
Ooh.
Now, again, we were talking about health just now, and I was reaching out about how I've been feeling kind of like a little fatty 2x4. What I want to say is this isn't something that I can just point my finger and say it's my knee or this is my shoulder or because of something. I'm not saying that conditions are not real. Medical conditions are certainly part of that. And if you have a medical condition that makes you unable to do things, that's frustrating and extremely hard. However, as I'm speaking just for myself, I know I can do better.
Yeah.
I know that I can make myself a stronger person, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and the moment I start trying to point the finger at somebody else rather than pointing it at me, that's when I start to grow. That's when I start to realize that, oh my gosh, I have the ability to control these things.
Yep. We grow through that. We grow from that struggle, that change.
Right.
I think that's self accountability. I think is another way to say that. You got to hold yourself accountable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
because if you're not going to be accountable for your own actions, who else will be?
Yeah. Right. Look at our government. Look at
I can't blame my dad. I can't blame mom. And when I was using hard, when I was using hard, I just realized getting high was fucking great at first. I hate saying it like that, but if there was no consequences of snorting oxys again,
I think we all would.
I would 100%. But
we're not condoning that.
But the consequences add up, and I just don't want to break people's hearts anymore. I don't want to steal jewelry from my grandmother to buy more shit. It doesn't make sense for those consequences to be there anymore. But I'm saying in terms of being healthy, because that's going to be the goal, is John's going to get healthy, and blaming others for that is not, or blaming something else besides my own motivating factors.
You're right. We all know society sucks. We all know that mental health and healthcare is up to the person, and not kind of, the education isn't really given to you. You have to go out and seek it, like you and me have been doing.
Yeah.
But you got to hold yourself accountable. That's perfect, John.
Yep.
That's perfect.
I agree. That's going to be number 3 is a good one for me to focus on. But so many other good ones to talk about. The practice of self-assertiveness. Now, I think a lot of people can see this in a couple of different ways, but I don't want to confuse it with toxic masculinity, because that's not what I'm talking about here.
Good call.
What I want to say in terms of being assertive rather than aggressive. Assertive is just saying your point of view without it being so much as a direct threat to somebody else, But when I'm fuck you, you're wrong, and here's why, that's kind of aggressive.
Yep.
That's not really the point that I want to try to come across. I want people to understand rather than be told what to do. In that sense,
I think what that actually is, I think what it says to me is, don't let people also tell you how you feel, or convince you how you feel.
I generally don't drink. That's not one of the things that I like to do. Sometimes on a special occasion, maybe. But even when I go out to events or parties, back in 2019, I'm just talking about 2020 has been kind of difficult. 2021 has been difficult to go out and do that. But like, I'm not really threatened by the group drinking, and I'm not.
Cool.
That doesn't like bother me, you know. But what does bother me is like when like I'm I guess like wrong in a classroom environment. Like I'm trying to think of like a good example that could be
Or
like
yeah, or a work group
a
environment
work group
where you
environment.
say something that's
Yeah,
wrong and everyone
that's
kind of like,
wrong.
yeah,
Looks at you.
yeah.
You're like, oh, well, now I'm really feeling self-conscious. But there's the ability of having the assertiveness or self-assertiveness is not something that's easy, and challenging yourself back, just going back to that like track point of view of just being yourself and asserting that is a
Hmm.
good start.
Yes,
And you
yes.
can work that into your environment, your reality, your present.
Now, and again, I don't think you should push your beliefs on anyone
Absolutely not.
because we're
And
gonna tie
that's,
into ego after this.
oh yeah. And let's see here. It does not mean, where are we at? Was that number 4? I
That
think
was
that was number 4.
4.
Okay, number 5, the practice of living purposefully.
Ooh, now this is this is a big one for me. But what's it mean? What's it mean for you?
Well, I kind of translated this into being like a spiritual warrior. And what I mean by that is you kind of think about what is your warrior class right now in society. And it's really like an entrepreneurial thing. Like people that are like successful or the warriors of this day and age are people that are working and providing that American dream for themselves.
Yeah.
And you see that, and I want a part of that. Like I want to feel that. But right now, it's hard for me to feel motivated. I don't feel like the warrior that I'm supposed to feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
Yep. And that can go into toxic masculinity too.
I
That
agree.
society's convinced you that a male has to be a warrior, you have to be a fighter. And that can put us in a weird space when we're not motivated and we're not fighting for what we believe in. And that kind of makes us feel worse about ourselves. And when society especially is telling you that, a male has to be A, B, C, and D, and you're not any of those, and you're like, if I'm not any of those, what am I? And you're getting your cues from external sources like Hollywood, like Disney.
Oh,
And dude, Disney fucked me up. Oh,
how did Disney fuck you up?
by telling me that there's only one person out there for me. I have my one and only. And then believing every partner I've had has been that one and only. And then going through the heartbreak and the heartache of growing up and realizing that love is a spectrum and you experience that with people. It can be momentarily, it can be for long periods of time, but and this is me personally, I don't believe that there's a one and only out there. I think that's kind of a narcissistic or romantic, depressive way to think like of the world. Because what if that person gets hit by a car or, God forbid, chokes on some food and dies? Um, that puts you into a pickle. Should you not live the rest of your life? It can go a whole bunch of different ways.
I
But
think that's valid. Absolutely.
I
And
no, it's
I don't think that's wrong. And you hear like, oh, you're my one and only, you're my soulmate. Like,
yeah,
do you feel like the
it
concept of
feels
soulmates are
good.
not right?
We've convinced ourselves, and again, I'm speaking for myself, everyone, but I think we've convinced ourselves that, yes, this feels good. I'm special. I'm unique. Me and this one other person are the only ones that are ever going to understand this feeling.
Hmm.
And I just think it's like when you get into a relationship, when it first starts, you're open about everything, you've had multiple partners in the past, but once that love starts to blossom, all of a sudden, those walls start going up where it's like you can't look at anybody else. You can't have like, especially it's hard for men. We have the wandering eye.
Oh, the wandering eye, yeah.
But it becomes toxic for you to think anyone else is attractive. And I think that's kind of like unrealistic because, before I met, the person I'm with now, I thought many people were attractive. But all of a sudden, once I get into a committed relationship, I become ostracized for looking or God forbid, physically glancing my head. And I think those standards are impossible to live up to, and they're impossible to make someone, this is why people get divorced and break up and have miserable and start keeping secrets, it's because we have these expectations that are impossible to fucking hold up to. Humans are very sexual creatures. Men had been, blessed with the ability to have multiple orgasms very quickly in quick succession with little to no effort at all. And, women have been built to carry children for 9 months. And yes, I know they can have multiple orgasms too. But
they can.
We yes. Yes. No,
yes,
no,
word
no.
up.
But I just think it gives ourselves these false expectations to live up to, which we tie religion into, and it's control, and people start keeping things suppressed. And that's why we have serial killers, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we have corporate sleazeballs and sociopaths and narcissists. And of course these things exist on the spectrum of humanity everywhere. But I think that keeping people to these fairy tale expectations is toxic and poisonous. Look up the guy who invented true romance, or the one and only. He was like he was a suffering alcoholic who I think died alone. He started the romantic movement, I believe, too, in like the 1800s. But the belief wasn't really popular before he kind of coined it. So it's a modern idea. It's a modern thought, like diamond wedding rings and a beautiful wedding. These aren't based in human history since the BCs. This is a commonly new event that we're forced to think that we need to have. And I'm not saying that weddings are stupid. If it works for you, it works for you, and power to you. I have been blessed with the horrible sight of seeing past it. And my partner will tell you how annoying I can get, and I'm sorry. But my personal opinion, I see, and this is the cynic in me too, John. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
I see people inventing prices to charge you to have the ability to experience what you think you should have. And
like going into like storybook land.
Yeah, like having that picturesque wedding, having that picturesque diamond, that the perfect social media presence. It's that all stems from growing up watching Disney. Like reading fairy tales, reading all those sappy love romance movies that happen to pop up around Christmas time on the Hallmark Channel. I watched a lot of them this year. My partner loves them, so I sat down and I watched a lot of them. Begrudgingly, I did.
Begrudgingly, okay.
And it's all the same story. Guy
I feel like
or girl
same
leaves town, comes back to town, comes
back to their hometown, finds the one that
the one person that was there the whole time.
And then Santa Claus shows up, and there's some mistletoe.
The magic of Christmas, yeah. And John, do you know what a mistletoe is? Just to go on another tangent. Mistletoe is a parasitic plant that a bird shits out. A bird eats the mistletoe berry, shits it out, and it grows off of another tree. It's not even a tree or a bush. It's a parasite. We're kissing under a parasite, and this is romantic?
Well, I mean, it was until you said it was a parasite.
Look it up, man. Look up all the traditions and where they come from. It's like funerals, for example.
Ooh,
Funerals were a way. They kind of started back in the 1800s, really, with the funeral of President Lincoln. It was he went on a train around a couple of states, and people came up to see him and mourn his death. He was a beloved figure. I probably would have went to see it too. But then industry then grew up out of that and convinced people you have to have your funeral at this particular location. You have to have it in a casket. It was a way for the wealthy to show off how much wealth they had by how many people showed up and how many flowers happened. And it was a flex of it, like a wedding was. It's a flex of wealth and power to how great it can be. And like funeral homes, they used to be called funeral parlors, and they actually pushed to have people stop calling the rooms in their house they used to call the parlor room. They pushed to call that the family room or the living room. They pushed to have that room change the name so you could believe that you were supposed to have the funeral at the funeral parlor.
I
Because
thought it was
people,
because you just lived in your living room.
yeah, no, that's living room and family room are, again, it's a current new thing that didn't used to, it's not from the time of Jesus, you know?
Yeah, did not know that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And caskets, you don't have to buy caskets, people. I'm just going to throw that out there. Uh, you don't have to buy caskets. You don't, if we start to line up to with like where we want to be buried and then how much it's going to cost. And an industry grew from it. And I can't diss it too much, but uh, it's like Uber. It invented a problem that didn't exist, or it solved a problem that didn't exist. And it's just traditions and where they come from. I'm sorry to go off on this rant.
Oh no, it's cool.
Traditions, you just look into where they come from before you buy into the whole it's the way we're supposed to have it. Like getting married, having kids, buying a house in the countryside, that American dream. If it's what you want, go for it. Don't feel like that's what you have to do and that's what success is. That's all I'm saying. You know, you don't have to have a picturesque wedding to think it was a successful wedding and your wedding's going to last, you know?
Well, that's like trying to put like little seagulls in other people's pictures. Sometimes those things aren't necessary. Other people's point of views or perspectives aren't
Yeah.
sometimes based on what your concept
Yeah.
of
These are
success
my
is.
feelings. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am cynical and I am working on becoming less ego driven. This is a very big ego conversation for me,
Yeah.
which is a perfect segue for after you're done.
Right. And
We're going with this.
this brings us to our final pillar
Yes.
of
Lay it on me,
self-esteem.
baby.
Here we go. The practice of personal integrity. Now, I think personal integrity kind of means to me that the beliefs and concepts that I have, once challenged, do I shirk away from them, or do I, do I own up to them? Does the cheese stand alone in this kind of
A lot of cheese
practice?
references today.
I know
I'm
a
gonna
whole lot
have
of cheese
some.
stuff
I'm gonna
going on.
have some when I get
Yeah.
off it. Off this
I'm gonna
call.
eat a block of cheddar after this. Just a whole block. I don't
No.
personal
Personal integrity. No, that's a really big thing because when we had a friend accuse me of something, it went against my integrity that I would even do that in the first place. I would even go out of my way to kind of harm them or put them in harm's way just for laughs or
right,
to mock them later.
or to make them feel bad,
Yeah, like that goes
or
against
to
my
make myself
integrity.
feel better. Yeah, and that's something that I've always had challenge doing in terms of that is, why would I want to make somebody feel less than I feel?
Yes, and
You
that
know?
I see how that ties in with self-esteem perfectly, and
Yeah.
how to grow from that. That's great. Like,
And we have this concept of like almost like a smoky mirror, right? Like a reflection that we see in ourselves and then we project it onto somebody else. How we treat others is really a reflection on how we treat ourselves.
you
Yeah.
said it. You said it, bro. You just said it. I have gotten upset with people, and because of me hearing myself through their words and through their mouth, and then me getting upset at them because of how I think about myself. It's kind of crazy that we do that. That's an amazing point because I keep hitting that wall like once a month, maybe twice a month with somebody, especially a new employee at a, you know, like for me as an ex bartender, watching someone come up and kind of mess around and not understand, you know, the aspects of how to hold yourself and how to talk to people, and me just kind of like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it's me looking at myself not knowing and failing and me hating that. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. That is
Right.
a great point.
And I think our integrity is challenged by us, by not only uh, society or reality or the present. It really, honestly, I think the thing that challenges my integrity the most is me, and being whether I want to be afraid to own up to that, or if I'm scared to do it. I think that
Scared. Yep.
that saying of me being my own worst enemy
Scared.
is really true here. Yeah.
I just exhibited it with my cynical views on marriage and love. You know,
Yes.
that's me being a cynic. I'm sorry, everyone. This is a great learning experience. Um, you know, my fear turns into cynicism. It turns into quick judge reactions of, you know, we talk
Yeah.
about me
Gut
being angry.
reactions.
Yeah, me being angry before. Um, you know, that comes from fear. That's what I think. That's so perfect. This is all connected. And I'm really happy we could see me have that embarrassing kind of step up with how I feel about things, because it doesn't matter what anyone else does, and I'm not here to teach you
Yeah, and it's
your
not.
beliefs are wrong. And
And
John,
look, Shawn, you're not wrong in your beliefs. I
I'm
think
wrong when
that
I push it in someone else's face, and that's what
exactly.
we're
I
going to talk
think
about
that
next.
okay.
No, what were we saying? You think
I said I was gonna say I think that it's everybody's beliefs in terms of how they want to see themselves. Let's go like beyond self-esteem. Let's think about the beliefs of yourself and then beliefs of others, and why it's not necessary to have a fight about it. Like we don't have to like block people because they think that you feel like they're wrong, or they feel like
delete the
you're wrong.
messages? Oh,
Yeah,
dude, I'm
it's
so
not
guilty.
necessary. It's okay to just let them feel that, and it's okay for you to like talk about it.
Now, I do think this is a good point for two friends amongst friends.
Amongst friends. Yep,
We're allowed to disagree
we're
and not
allowed to
hate each
disagree.
other.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, it's I respect you. I respect you so much that you're allowed to not believe the same words that I believe in, and I don't hate you for it,
absolutely,
because
and
that
thank
is
you for saying that, Shawn.
no. I know, and I know I know that I have some radical beliefs, and I know you don't hate me for mine.
Oh no, I don't. I love them.
And you know that ties. Thank you. No,
I
that
do. I know.
John.
I like you're a very interesting guy, and you're yeah. You let you show a lot more wisdom um, in the way that you speak and your beliefs. I just think it's very open minded, and I
Thank you.
really appreciate that
Thank
about
you.
you.
As thank you. As I don't think I'm as open-minded as I can be. I'm working on that. And this is the perfect segue, John. Because this ties into ego. And ego, my friend, we're not gonna spend an hour. We spend like an hour talking about self-esteem, which is great.
Yeah,
We're not gonna do that with ego, because
but
I
we can't talk about self esteem
no
without talking about ego a
no
little bit.
they have to go hand in hand. But I think we could probably do an episode alone just on ego. I don't think we're there yet,
No.
because what I've learned reading Eckhart Tolle and watching the videos is ego is like your personal driving force. What
Hmm.
ego is, it's the aspect of self that you consider you. You know, it's how you see yourself. It's conscious and unconscious or subconscious. It's your beliefs and your reality. And if you have a strong, powerful ego, and your beliefs are like confronted, like, you know, for example, if I was a radical left person in government, and I was talking to
Okay.
a radical right person, our
Gotcha.
egos would clash, because somehow, for some reason, they can't live together in the same bubble,
Universe.
same
Yeah.
universe. Yes, universe. Wow, perfect.
I know.
They can't.
I forget words all the time, but sometimes I can help people remember them. I don't know why that is, but I sure can do that.
For some reason, we've been convinced that we can't live in the same universe, and that's ego, ladies and gentlemen. Beliefs and realities. Um,
So are you kind of saying like the ego is almost like our scapegoat, if that makes sense? Like, do
we
we
can no,
use?
we can make it a scapegoat, but we use it not as our scapegoat. Picture it like this. I
Yeah,
watched an
because I'm
amazing
having a little
video.
difficulty.
I
Like,
watched an amazing video on actualized.org. They
mhm.
have a YouTube channel too. Awesome stuff. Uh, what they said to a picture it as is a ball of yarn, and
Okay,
every strain is an experience that you've had, and the ball of yarn together makes you who you are. But you can't just kind of pick out pieces without getting tangled in the mess that holds it together. It
gotcha.
separates itself. Your ego separates itself from the world. You, there's you, then there's not you, there's other people, and there's other places. These are all things that aren't you, and you are the ego.
Gotcha.
It is self-preservation. Nature gave us consciousness and gave us the ability to talk and communicate and grow and develop and learn, and it gave us ego to preserve ourselves, because it's what in a survival setting makes you choose to fight and survive. Ego does have its place, in a hunter gatherer situation. And, in today's society, it is more of a detriment, and I mean that by uh, if your ego goes unchecked and you have a great success, for example.
Hmm.
Now, with that great success, you might not take other risks because you
You found your
know
niche.
that this I see it with a bunch of YouTube channels.
Uh-huh.
They find one thing that works, like box opening, or an athlete or a lawyer responds to cat law from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, people
Bird
find
law.
one thing, bird law.
Bird law.
People find one thing and they find success through that, and then they after they heat their peak of success, they find failure because they don't go into new things. Now, some people have, Buddhists are really good at learning how to dissolve the ego. Meditation helps dissolve the ego. It helps kind of quiet your mind, and helps you become more open and more mindful.
Hmm.
Which I love how you said I was open minded. I still
No,
think I'm.
yeah,
I still
definitely,
think
definitely open minded.
I still think I am. I mean, if I'm kind of compared to other people, yes, but I do think, if I'm being honest with myself, I do think I still have a closed mind sometimes. And what ego with the self-presence, it's self-preservational, it's clingy, it's also fictitious, because it will make you not take those risks. It will make you believe you know what is right for you when you're hurting you, or you're killing you, or you have to, lie, cheat, and steal to get there. And what the ego comes from is, I said, it's the ball of yarn. It's the experiences that after you're born you learn from a child till now. And when it goes unchecked and it grows and grows and grows, it weighs you down, and
Hmm.
you can no longer grow and be open-minded because you're so, like, look at do you know the guy Howard Hughes? Are you
No, I
familiar?
don't. I don't know how to use.
He was an entrepreneur back in the early 1900s. He
Uh-huh.
he made
Wasn't
a
he was an American Idol judge, right?
no, this is 1900s.
Oh, okay.
He made a whole bunch of
1900s.
money uh, through his family's tool company, and he ended up going into aviation, going into film, and going into
Hmm.
stocks and hotels. But his ego, because he was so successful making billions of dollars with his tool company, he thought he owned TWA, Trans World Airline, and
Okay.
he made the Spruce Goose. He was, he was kind of a moving, in his younger years, a moving character. But as he got older, and after he already got his success, he dwindled down to basically a compulsive, uh, uh, what they would call a crazy person. He was living in a hotel suite in Las Vegas, naked, his hair all crazy and not clean. He used to be the American dream, John. He was in movies. He the movie The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's
That was based on him.
about Howard Hughes. Yeah. So if
Oh,
you've seen The Aviator, you know who Howard
I
Hughes is.
haven't. I haven't seen The Aviator, but now I'm gonna watch it because this
But
sounds
yeah,
like an
dude,
awesome movie.
you see what the ego does to him, and it happens with a lot of people that are successful in corporate America. You see egos go unchecked, and you see the companies go high and then fall apart. It happened to American Apparel. It was there used to be, John, when we were in high school, there was an American Apparel store in every strip mall, in every mall. Now they're all
Oh,
gone, and
now
it's
they're all gone. Yeah.
only online. So, it's just ego going unchecked. It takes control of you. And through my meditation and through my daily, check-in that I've been doing, I'm trying to get to that point of more of enlightenment, which I'm not going to be a Buddhist monk ever. I'm not going to give myself that goal, but
Oh, again, that's you're not the Buddha. Unfortunately, I'm
I'm
not the
not. I'm
Buddha
sorry.
either.
I'm not going to be
I'm
the Buddha.
not. I'm not. But going back into like the aspect of understanding why it's okay to be the beginner, why it's okay to
Yeah. Why it's
to
okay to
to
learn.
be learning it through this process. And when I hear ego, Shawn, I really think of morality and what we want to do with that. The concept of having these good qualities about us, our ability to be honest, endearing, sincere, loving, caring, kind. Those are parts of me that are really there.
That are good. Yes.
That are there. However, there are parts of me again that we talked about character defects a little bit last week, and I
Judgmentalness.
can't help but compare like some of those parts of pettiness, self-centeredness,
Yes. That's
anger,
all ego.
sadness. Those sound like all like the little knot of ego that you were talking about. Absolutely.
Yep.
And in doing so, once we unravel that ball of yarn as you described,
We can
does
become.
that mean our ego disappears with those
Yes.
balls
Yes.
of knots?
Through meditation and through work like that, you become more enlightened, and like a Buddhist try to get to oneness. They try to get to
Mm-hmm.
nirvana, where they see the world. They don't see they are part of the world. They are what I'd say. They are everything. They are the universe. They are the way
Yeah.
it is. There is no right. There is no wrong. There is no judging. There is no beliefs. You just are. You just are. And I think I showed you that chart earlier, where it's like we have what everything is, and then we have on the other side our judgments and our beliefs, and how we kind of push everybody into categories in our lives. And
I do tend to do that. I do
yes,
categorize.
I do.
Unfortunately,
We've been doing it since kids. I think
Yeah.
we're taught how to do it in school, especially in a consumer-based society. We're taught how to do it with the things that we own and things that we buy.
Oh my God, Pokemon cards. Let's
Yeah,
just talk about
right,
that for a
right. Come
second.
on,
Having that Charizard, you felt like $1,000,000 if you had a Charizard
and I
card.
knew that kid that had that Charizard.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how powerful that car would become, because I would have stolen it probably. But
I honestly wish I had
dude,
one still.
dude, I can't tell you how many times I've seen the Pokemon card that is,
Oh, it makes me so bad.
or the Beanie Baby that's worth money.
Right. The Princess
Pogs.
Diana one.
Oh yes, that damn teddy bear.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I seriously am working on, and I think everyone else can work on daily breathing. John, we
Yeah.
started today's episode with a quick little
With a
reset.
nice reset daily breathing meditation practice. It was fantastic.
What breathing does, it just helps you kind of connect back with your mind and your body's
Oh,
natural movements.
there's such a spiritual part of it that I didn't
Yes.
understand.
Yes, and it quiets your mind from
I
the
just felt better
nonsense.
breathing a little bit
That's what it does, dude. That's what it does. I
rather
mean,
than like curled up in a ball. Like, yes, look at this. Look
I
at my
wake up with
microphone.
that anxiety and that
Yes, I must check the Reddits.
right. Oh God, who likes me today?
Yes,
Oh,
I need
no
my
one likes
karma.
me. Oh, self-esteem again. Oh,
Oh, the full
what am I
circle.
doing? Oh shit.
You lost
Anyway,
your headphones.
sorry, I
There you
heard
go.
you, baby.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, yes. I am gonna suggest to everyone. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's get our self-esteem back up. I have a couple exercises. John, you talked about
my
it.
self-esteem is going to be doing some push-ups and some eating some delicious eggs. No
So,
cheese, guys. I'm sorry.
I got 3 things real quick
Yeah.
to end this episode with. Meet yourself. John, look in the mirror and meet yourself. I think you'd love yourself. I think you would like yourself if you met yourself on the street and became friends.
I think I would.
Yeah. And I think I would like myself too. The little quirky shit that I do, the shit that I make fun of myself for doing. I think I would like that if I met that in someone too. So there's a video on YouTube, or it's a TEDx talk. Nikko Everett, excellent quick video. Number 1, turn up the volume on your positive thoughts.
Turn up the volume on my positive thoughts.
We tend to, like, if we do compliment ourselves, it's quick and it's easy. I mean, imagine that you have your headphones on, turn the volume up to 11, little Spinal Tap reference there, and listen to it. Like, take in the compliment and the positivity. Turn down the negative thoughts. You know, pretend like you're on a computer and you're deleting it. Delete it from your comment box.
I'm gonna delete it right from my email.
Yes, delete it. Like, John, have you ever have you ever written a text out and you looked at it and you're like, I can't send that?
Yes.
And you delete it?
Yeah.
Do that to the negative thoughts in your head.
Ooh.
Number 2 is start telling people nice things. This is my call to arms today. Next time you see a stranger or you're texting somebody, say something nice to them. Compliment them on their hair. I did it to a couple coworkers the other day. I just complimented, like, hey, I like your shoes. I like your shirt. I like your hair. I'm challenging everyone who's listening. You've made it this far. Thank you. I think me and John can ramble sometimes, but congratulations.
Yeah, we sure do.
Compliment somebody. Say something nice to somebody, and you'll make their you'll make their day probably, and you'll make that moment memorable, and you'll feel better for doing it.
I'm going to ante it up a little bit in terms of that. If you do a good deed, don't brag about it.
Yeah.
Don't humble brag. Don't give the ego something to talk about. All right.
There was a time where Facebook, that's all it was.
It was humble
I just
brags.
gave a homeless guy $5.
Look at me.
Snapchat.
And not to say like that's a great thing if you give somebody that's really struggling.
Take care of the
keep
homeless
doing
people.
that.
Take care of the
like
homeless.
A small good deed,
that's ego,
going
buddy.
unnoticed, is a great and powerful thing. It means that goodwill is being given freely and
you're
willingly.
not looking for anything back from it. And I'm guilty of letting my ego kind of like, let me tell everybody my inspiring story. And there is a benefit to that, but there's also the egotistical side to that. Do something good for somebody. I like that. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to
yourself.
That person and you. Pay it
know
forward.
that you did a good thing.
Yes,
and you should feel proud of that.
You do.
That's a good way of practicing some self-esteem right there, ladies and gentlemen.
And then the last
number
one,
2?
No, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3 is say thank you after receiving a compliment.
Wow.
We've been
practicing that. Yeah, no, me and Shawn have actually been practicing that through this. If you heard us say thank you, that's why.
Yeah, because
we can't
I'd be like,
yeah, tell me what you would do. You would just push the compliment away
under the rug, dude, under the rug. Yeah, like
throw it right under the rug. Me too.
Just take it. Take it for what it is. It's the truth. I guarantee you no one's going out of their way to lie to you to make you think that you're something that you're not. And if they are, you need a better friend. I'm sorry. But
Right.
I guarantee you, they're not out to get you. They're not out to hurt you. I do know there's some toxic office environments that have existed. I think it's called cold intimacy. I know those things do happen, but I guarantee you that's not the case 90% of the time. So take the compliment, you know?
Yeah, just take the compliment.
Yeah, I mean, one last thing that I've been saying ever since we started this, I do little lists in my writing exercises.
Gratitude list?
Yeah, 10 things that you admire about yourself. It's gonna
Ooh.
be hard in the beginning,
Yeah, that's
but
gonna be a
I'm telling you,
challenge.
this is
I'm gonna
like
give it a
working
shot.
out.
I'm gonna do 10 things I appreciate myself.
10 things that you admire about yourself.
Oh,
You
and
know,
10. Okay,
and
admire
John, I'm telling you, you can do
about.
it.
Oh, I feel motivated to do so. I feel like this is the
Hey,
challenges of self-esteem
I
are
feel better
being
already.
present here. I
I
always feel
feel
better when I
better.
talk to you, Shawn.
This is great, man. This is great.
Yeah,
John, you're like the best person to seriously sit down and talk to. This has been like
Shawn,
such a blessing for me.
thank you. I feel exactly the same. Talking to you and having somebody there to talk to is one of the best things about our friendship, and having that explored and seen by other people. Like, we got a good thing, our friendship, and I want
Yes.
people to know that too.
And I want to share it out. I want to reach my hand out
I'm
and
reaching out,
I
Shawn.
want to extend it. I want to extend it not just to you, John, but AF the podcast at gmail.com. Reach out to me.
Reach out,
Give
yeah.
me something to talk about. Give me some topics. Give me something that you're struggling with. Reach out to me on Instagram at we're at Friends Amongst, or yeah, I think we're at Friends Amongst, or
We're
no,
friends amongst on
Friends Amongst on
Twitter. Yeah.
AF the
So
podcast
at
on
friends.
Instagram.
Yeah, at friends amongst on Twitter. That's
DM
where you
us,
can reach us. Yeah,
email
seriously.
us, leave a comment if this is on YouTube. I've been slacking in the YouTube department. I apologize. I'm going to get back on it this week. Reach out. I gave you a couple things to do today. Meantime, we talked about, the three things you can do, and thanking somebody, a stranger or a friend.
Right.
Reach out to us. If you're listening, I know someone in the UK is listening. I've seen the statistics.
We've seen you.
Someone in Denmark has been listening, and Spain. I know people in California are listening. I know people in Florida are also listening. I don't know what parts you're listening to, but I hope you're here right now, and I hope you're with us till the end.
And we hope that you enjoyed the message that we're putting out there to the world, because we're throwing out good vibes, and we want good vibes to be reached to others.
And I think trying to be genuine and share genuineness with other people is the greatest gift you can bestow upon the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us tonight. John, what do you want to talk about next week, real quick?
Oh man, I don't really know. I really liked what we were talking about with the ego. I think that we should really branch out to that and make that its own episode.
I want to. I think later down, when you and me are more enlightened.
Ooh.
When you and me are more like, because
we're not so beginning.
Just watching some of the videos on YouTube, it's a lot, and it's a lot of stuff that I'm still struggling with. So I don't want to I just feel like I'd be humble bragging, basically, and
we could go into something like happiness or something positive.
Let's touch base in the week. We'll keep it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I'll throw it out there on Instagram.
Next week's video, we're next week's podcast. You're gonna really enjoy it. We haven't thought about it yet, but I guarantee you're gonna.
We're gonna have fun with it.
We're gonna have fun with
it. John, thank you for joining me.
Shawn,
always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us at Amongst Friends tonight. Have a great week.
Have a great week. Have a blessed month, and stay positive. Thank you, and good night.